our guys took good care of you up in the press box. I know you had plenty of space, so more so than usual anyway. Great day, and I'll say this as a lead-in, and we did a couple things on social media yesterday as well along this theme, but just very grateful to have an opportunity to play today. Just playing to me was a win. All these teams that are playing today in the last couple of weeks is just playing college football is a win. And I mean that. To win and win big is a bonus, but just playing and probably as relaxed as I've ever been on a game day. And it didn't have anything to do with who we were playing or where we were playing. It was just understanding just the feeling of gratefulness. And we talked about that as a team. I thought our guys prepared. They were very appreciative of the opportunity, and they went out and they played to our standard. We respect EKU, but we were playing against our standard, not necessarily against EKU today. As you know, unfortunately, we had 11 guys that didn't play today, several starters on offense. Their suspension is over as of the last second of that game running off. They'll be back with us tomorrow. They were participating in all activities all week. It was non-COVID related. I want to make sure the suspensions they all weren't for the same thing. Not going to get into it. I do want you all to know this is love those guys and really believe that a lot of them are going to be a huge part of the success we have this year and the success we're going to have moving forward. Also missed our fans today. It's kind of surreal. I hope they felt like they were part of it at home. I thought I haven't watched the TV copy obviously, but I hope that it was quality and they enjoyed it at home. Just talk about some of the high points and some of the things I think we got to work on coming out of this. Start with defense. Thought we started well, which that's been a point of emphasis for us. New guys played well, and I know you all have some questions on those guys, but the new guys, Alonzo, Tony Fields, those guys played well. 111 on third down. That was a point of emphasis for us as far as being improved. And then 4 sacks. I thought we applied some pressure. Offensively, fast start. We took the ball right out the gate, won the coin toss, took the ball. That's something that I don't know if we made a habit of last year, but we felt like getting off to a fast start was important. Very balanced today. Ran the ball better. I think that's a credit to offensive line. And then 2 tight ends that played that hadn't played a lot. Jackson Knipper and Charles Finley did a nice job. And then to have 2 100-yard rushers, which I felt like Letty and Sinkfield had nice camps. So to see them get rewarded today was good. And Tony got in there and had a couple nice runs toward the end. Efficient in the passing game. 0 turnovers. So I thought it was a pretty clean game offensively. I'd like to play better in the second half. Now we wanted to make sure we played everybody, but we missed the chip shot field goal. Got to be better than that. And then the 4th and 1, that was probably that and the big play on the first drive of the second half, probably the 2 biggest negatives of the day. Special teams, we were hit and miss. We did some things well, but we got to get better in that area. Too many penalties, that's the thing that sticks out. The missed field goal, we will get better there. We'll invest the time. That's always the biggest worry on game 1 is special teams, and we got to make improvements there. But overall, good win. Played well in our opener. We showed some maturity. We showed some signs of improvement. Get a bye week and then start the gauntlet of the Big 12 on the 26th. And I thought we were very fortunate to play a lot of people. And so with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Okay, everyone, if you have a question, please remember to use the raise hand feature. We'll start questions with Greg Hunter. So, Coach, on Tuesday you said we better be in terms of your run game. So now that you saw it up close and personal, your overall assessment, and did you really think you could do this? I mean, your comments Tuesday didn't lead to a ton of confidence, but obviously your performance, does that change your opinion, or did you see this coming?
Well, first of all, Tony's been giving me a hard time because I see him more than I see my wife during these game weeks. So he's been giving me a hard time about that answer, and that was not disrespectful towards you, but I just felt like, we've been talking about the run game. Think about it. How many press conferences, and you can think about this, Greg, how many press conferences have you let off with a run game question, which is legit, what you should be asking. And so we have put a plan together really, and it started probably in that month of November how we had to get better, because you're not going to be a championship program and win at the elite level in the Big 12 unless you can run the ball and stop the run. And we were okay stopping the run last year, but we ran the ball putrid. And so we put together a plan. Spent a lot of my quarantine time was built around that. And, and Jared had a role in it. Matt had a role in it. Trickett had a role in it. Chad Scott had a role in it. Our offense staff, we worked and came up with a plan, and we put that plan into play. And we felt like we're going to be better. Now, this is just a start. Just because we did it today doesn't mean that all of a sudden we've arrived running the football. No, we've got to go to Stillwater, and we've got to do it. And then we've got to do it against Baylor, and we've got to do it against people that we're going to have to beat to be competitive in our league. And so, but it was a start. And I did feel like that our offensive line has communicated better through the entirety of camp. We've had less run-throughs, less negative plays. And I felt like that Letty, over the last 2 weeks, once we started practice in a physical nature, or really 3 weeks, when we started practicing in a physical nature, he has risen his game and broken tackles. And so to see him get off on a quick start and go for 100 plus today I was happy for him, and it was well deserved.
Next question is from Ryan Pritt. Go ahead, Ryan.
If Ryan's saying something, I can't hear him.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. We do.
Okay. Zach Frazier and Reese Smith, a couple true freshmen, kind of got thrusted into that starting lineup. Just wondering, I know you'll probably have a better idea after you watch film, but initial takes on their performances today.
Yeah, Sam Brown as well. So
yeah.
Three freshmen started. Really young group we put out there. I think Mike Brown, Daggy, and Letty, only older guys. But Reese has been ultra competitive since he's been here. He had a couple of really nice blocks on the perimeter that don't get talked about as well. Played on 2 of the special teams, and I have high hopes for him moving forward. Going to be a guy that we can really build around. Going to be a great program player. And then Zach Frazier, all those same things I just said about program, and I didn't think he'd go out and start as a freshman, but I thought he did a nice job. I really like how he competes. I like how he prepares. He loves the game. It's important to him. I like how he's real level. Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. I went by the hotel room last night doing bed check, and I said, "You ready to go?" "Yes, sir." No blink, no hesitation. He was ready, and we'll see. And I thought Sam Brown, a couple of big-time catches there on the opening drive, on the opening couple drives. So, those 3 guys are going to play a lot of football here for a long time, and I was pleased they got off to a good start.
We'll go to Cody Nesper. Go ahead, Cody.
Hey, Neal. So on Tuesday, you mentioned that you were at least a little bit concerned about the number of penalties the team had, and you mentioned earlier a number today. How do you fix that? How can you fix that over the next week before Oklahoma State?
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of them are on special teams, and several blocking the backs are holding. 2 after whistle penalties, which we'll pay for those. All right, we'll pay for those. We're not in the business getting selfish penalties. But a lot of it, punt return, kickoff return, full speed work, we need to do more full speed work. I think that was evident as I was making notes in the second half. That was something that I put down. So we've got to clean those up.
We'll go to John and Tony. Go ahead, John.
Getting back to Frazier, was there any trepidation on your part? You mentioned, you said you talked to him in the hotel room, but having a true freshman handle the ball like that, it's rare. We were talking with Greg Hunter. I think there's only been two freshmen that have played offensive line in the last 40 years. Here you're starting a game with a true freshman handling the ball right off the bat.
Well, I think he's a special kid, and he's mature beyond his years from his preparation. And so we were confident. I think he's going to play a lot of football here. So we were confident. And the way we practiced, going back to when we started this 6-week, run to play. So the way we did our OTAs, we went two groups, and then the first 2 weeks of fall camp, he got so many reps. And our defense is difficult to play against. And he was partnered up in I can't remember if it was a gold or blue, but he went against Darius every single day. So we had Fairmont on Fairmont every single day. And Darius if we kept score, Darius probably won, but Zach won his fair share. And so day after day of going against Darius, I think he got better. And so he gained some confidence. And he was going to play today regardless. the suspensions. Now, he wasn't going to start, but I thought he handled it really well.
Okay, we'll go to Kevin Kinder. Go ahead, Kevin.
Coach, you mentioned having to use Jackson Knipper, some because of your tight end shortage, but you
Played a lot.
in the back, yeah, and he was playing in the backfield as a fullback. Was there a plan to see some of that, from him in the backfield anyway, to see how that could, either help your running game or bring something new to the offense?
He basically played really at that tight end spot. We played him just like we would the other two guys that would normally play. He cheated his alignment a little bit sometimes. Now he is a fullback, but we've been playing him at tight end, and so that's how we used him today. And I thought he did a nice job. He played a little bit when he was at Western Michigan before he transferred here. Didn't play much last year, but he went in and did a nice job as far as creating holes, and did a pretty decent job in pass protection, which is a little harder for him.
Back to you, Cody. Go ahead.
So earlier when you were describing Zach Frazier, you said he doesn't get too high and he doesn't get too low. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the same way you used to describe McKivitz last year.
Yeah,
do you see a similarity
that's correct,
between those
Cody.
two?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm not ready to say that Zach Frazier is Colt McKivitz because he's on the NFL roster and was an All-American, consensus All-American last year. So not that, but from a mentality standpoint, similar. Colton was a guy that you knew what you were getting every single day, and I respected that. In the same way, I would say about Zach. In the short time that we've been here, is every day he shows up with the mentality to get better and to work, and so that they are similar, very similar in that regard.
Back to you, Greg. Coach, defensively, give me your analysis on the back end. You were very inexperienced at corner coming in, so again, I know film will tell a lot more, but what did you think of the back end play?
Well, we had some miscommunication, on a couple of those big plays. We've got to do a better job communicating. I thought overall they did a nice job. They hit us on really two big plays, so we were able to minimize the explosive plays. But I thought they did a nice job. A lot of players back there, Drayshawn, first college action, Alonzo Adai, first, Power 5 college action. And then Nick Troy, first time starting, really being a starter in a game. And so a lot of youth back there, but thought we got better. We've still got to make improvements. We haven't arrived. Very similar to what I said about our run game. But I do have confidence in that group moving forward. And Alonzo Adai made the play of the game with the interception. That was an incredible play right in front of me. And he made another great play on a kickoff. And so, a lot of confidence in those guys. As far as how our subs did, I need to watch it. We played Jackie Matthews, played Daryl Porter, played Jake Long, played a lot of those guys until we watched film. It's hard to say. But I do know we've got to do a better job of communicating. Sean Mahone's a leader back there. He's got to do a better job directing traffic. Ty Keys played a lot of football. He can communicate better as well.
Last four questions in the queue here. We'll start with Chris Anderson. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Coach, now that we've made it through an actual game and you've gone through the whole process, pre-fall camp, preseason practice, summer camps, once we get back to quote-unquote normal, what aspects of this would you say you might carry over or keep when we get back to normal?
I mean, not just because, the way I thought about this pandemic is for a normalcy. Okay. I'm not comparing the two events at all. Okay. But if you can think back to flying post 9/11 and you think about flying pre 9/11, you think about flying post 9/11, completely different. I think that's going to be the case with a lot of things we did pre and post COVID. I really do. So I think our communication is we have become better teachers as coaches due to having to work through Zoom and other ways to teach. So I think that's been a benefit. I think that working remotely and our players being able to work remotely and still communicate and stay on the same page, that's a benefit. I do think the split practices, there is some real benefit to that. I wouldn't have done it as long, probably moving forward, if we're in a non-COVID time but I do think there's some real benefits of that because the knowledge that our younger players have right now is so much ahead than they normally would. So those are some things, Chris, off the top of my head. I'm sure if I sit and thought about it for a longer period, I would come up with more. But those are some things right off the top of my head that I think have benefited us.
Johnny and Tony, go ahead.
Bob Hertzl's going to take one here first.
Yeah, hey Neal, with all the character building you've done with this team and the likes over a year plus, how disappointed were you that you had to suspend 11 players before the first game?
It is disappointing. It's hard. I don't think anybody that because you spend so much time and you care about the kids and these are young men, they're not kids anymore, but you spend a lot of time with them and you care about them, and playing time, when you lose it, it hurts. And those are tough conversations that you have when you have to look eyeball to eyeball and say, listen, you've made a mistake and you have to pay for your mistake. The thing that I try to hit home with them, Bob, is we were disappointed in some decisions. They didn't put their teammates at risk or anything like that. That's why I want to stress it wasn't COVID related. But they were decisions that weren't for the betterment. And so they paid their price, and there's not going to be any double jeopardy on this. This is something that, and I told the team that last second ran off clock, it's over, and we'll move forward with them being active participants, and they'll grow and they'll learn and they'll be better.
Keenan Cummings, go ahead.
Hey, Neal.
All right, here we go. Hey, so you mentioned communication. How was the communication with your defensive coaches? And were you on the defensive channel a lot today, more than maybe you normally would be?
No, John, I treat it just the same. Basically what I do is when the defense has the ball, I'm on with the defense. And I'll click back and forth and once the defensive call has been made. But I treat it the exact same. No different than what I've done the previous 5 years as a head coach. That's the way we communicated. Defense communication was really good. Their work, our staff works together. We've done a ton of game situations over this last 5-6 weeks. So this was, really, I guess the last 4 Saturdays, if I'm not mistaken, we've done kind of game simulations. So I thought they performed well. They did a nice job communicating.
Go ahead, Keenan.
Neal, how did you feel about the play of Tony Fields today? He looked like he was around the ball a lot.
Say again, Keenan. I missed the first part of that.
Tony Fields, how did you feel about his play today?
Yeah, really active. Plays a lot of energy. He brings a speed element to defense that we probably haven't had in my 2 years here. He's still learning what to do, but he plays full speed. He loves contact. Loves to play. Is only going to continue to get better. The better understanding he has what we're doing, but he flies around. I mean, he's an NFL prospect, and he's going to play in the NFL.
Okay, Coach, your last question comes from Mike Kazaza. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Neal, working with Jared today, I'm just curious, I guess some of the effort you all had to put into lineups and also what you're trying to get on film and accomplish, that kind of probably was uneven. And also downfield passing game, you took some shots, had some things to work, kind of missed a few more that were there. Just what you thought about the progress there. Yeah.
Well, I thought Jared Parker has been a great addition to what we're doing offensively. He's been probably as big a benefit to me as anybody. Now, he's done a great job coaching our wideouts, and I think we're improved. But being the leader when I'm not over there offensively, and Jared did a nice job. He called a bunch of plays today. So I've been really pleased. Been really pleased with him. I think our players respect him, and so that has been a positive having him be a part of our program. And the same could be said for all our new additions. Coach Castile, Coach Wright, Coach Coons, all those guys really been a nice addition, and I'm pleased with where we're at as a staff. And then we wanted to come in. I think we talked about this a little bit earlier last week or earlier in the week this week. Is we want to run the ball and we want to take some shots down the field. We feel like we have guys that are capable of making plays. There were some there that we missed throwing, and then there's at least 2 that we had a chance to make with the ball in our hands, and we didn't make those. So we have to continue to do that. As you know, to win in this league, you got to have explosive plays, and because there's going to be some scoring, And so we've got to be able to beat the best teams. We're going to have to get some of those shot plays and get chunk yardage. But we're going to continue to do that. That's been a huge emphasis for us, just like it has been running the football, is protecting the passer and taking shots downfield. We'll continue to do that. But appreciate y'all. I know this is kind of a different deal, and I appreciate y'all covering us. And I will see you on Tuesday. Thank y'all. I won't see him on Tuesday. Well, Mike just says I will. All right. I'll see you on Tuesday.